Hi folks, Jerry Gagne here, 4-H Pigeon Supplies, our bi-monthly show. I usually start a couple of minutes ago, but it was my fault. I was a little bit late. We do this a few minutes before the 3 o'clock show to see if we can't do things, if we can't straighten out technicalities, that kind of thing. A number of months. I want you to get pencil and paper because we're going to be sharing some information that you may want to write down, phone numbers and things like that. I'm going to be talking about mycoplasmosis. But before we start, I wanted to mention that this is not beer. I don't know whether you can see it, but it's root beer. Cheers. Okay. Mycoplasmosis. The reason I wanted to bring that up today was I've got a number of calls in the last week or so about the disease, sent a burn in for necropsy, and turns out that it was mycoplasmosis on that particular bird with a secondary infection. And secondary infections mean that sometimes the birds have a disease, aren't necessarily showing symptoms, but it weakens their immune system. With a weakened immune system, mycoplasmosis, which is a bacterial infection, is invited in, so to speak. So, in talking about mycoplasmosis, I'm going to have to put my cheaters on because I'm going to read some of this. There's so much information. But when you talk about mycoplasmosis, the tough thing about defining mycoplasmosis is that there are so many darn symptoms, it's very hard to diagnose. I'm going to read some of them. You're going to have, if you're a flying person, whether it's rollers, tipplers, racing pigeons, you're going to have birds that just plain don't want to train, or if they train, they're up there and they come right back down. They don't want to train, or it may be a just poor performance. You're racing your birds, and all of a sudden you are doing well, but in a particular race or in a training flight, they just are doing very poorly. They seem to be okay, but they're doing it very poorly. Other symptoms, and this is one that I get a lot of questions about. It says that the birds, when they come back from a flight, whether it's a race or a training toss, their mouth is open and they're gasping for air. The one that I look for the most, and if I am being asked questions about a disease, I ask them if there is slime in the throat. When I say slime, when the beak is open, you have like a thread from the top of the beak to the bottom of the beak inside. You see a slimy thread. That is a symptom of mycoplasmosis. Watery eyes, that's another symptom. As I said, there's just so many. A gurgling sound. I had somebody call me last week, no, it was this week, in regards to a turkey. And he was telling me that the symptoms was this gurgling sound. And I did a bit of research and in my poultry book, and it turns out that is most likely mycoplasmosis. Sneezing and shaking their head like that, mycoplasmosis. The cere, the color around their eye, is turning, it's not white like you would like to see, it sort of turns brown. So poor breeding performance. The problem with all of that is, as you can see, lots and lots of symptoms. I haven't gone over all of them, but there's so many symptoms that mimic other diseases. So it's a difficult one to diagnose. The slimy one helps me a lot. Best way is to have a bird have a necropsy done by many times your state labs for poultry and chicken will do that for you at a fairly small expense. Now, how does it go from bird to bird? Sometimes it's just drinking the same water. Sometimes you're carrying them in a basket to train them or to take them to a race. You put them in a crate basket, and in that basket could be feces droppings where a bird did have it, pass it on to the bird that you put in. That's why I try to tell people if they're training their birds or taking their birds to a show or taking them to a race, um, change the litter on the bottom of your basket as often as you can. And if you have a spray disinfectant, even the store-bought disinfectants that you can get for your dishes and things like that, are something you should consider. Keep that basket as clean as possible. Um, like when you put them in the basket for a race, that's difficult to do because the birds are going to be mixed in. There's another opportunity for mycoplasmosis, which is a respiratory issue, to rear its ugly head. So that's transmission. So all different kinds it could be. Um, Prevention. Now, this is important to you, even if you don't have mycoplasmosis. If your birds appear to be fine, it may be something you want to do. When they talk about preventing mycoplasmosis, one of the things they talk about right away is to make sure you have the maximum ventilation you possibly can, whether that's big windows that open that have screen or wire. It could be putting vents in your roof. I have two of them turbines that blow in the wind. Or if you have a large loft, you may want to consider a big fan. And if you've ever been to a pig farm, you'll see them for ventilation. The big fans sucking out the air. Ventilation is just so important. Putting in new birds, or even if you get stray birds into your loft, that could be a way too. Um, so I'm running out of time. We've got 4 or 5 minutes. One of the things we wanted to talk about is about treatment. If you go to our catalog, in all the catalogs we've had over the last few years, it talks about different diseases. Off the top of my head, I don't know if it's there, but if you don't have our new catalog, this is what it looks like. Gina may talk about it too. It's our newest catalog, up to date, all the new products and so forth. And if you don't, we don't mail them out willy-nilly, so to speak. And I've explained this before. The reason we don't mail out the catalogs to everybody in our database, we have so many cases where the address has changed. We have to have them returned to us. The people have deceased or died. So I think deceased or died is the same thing. Yeah, it is. But anyways, if people who have died, changed address, things like that, the catalogs are returned. So what we do is every order that you make, we include a catalog. Now, we might ask you if you want one, but if you do order, unless you say you've got one, unless we ask you, you'll get a brand new 2021 catalog. Coming back to the mycoplasmosis, here are some of the treatments that we suggest. So there's quite a few of them. Tylosin, which is Tylen, and leccospiceman. I can't even say it, but and we also erythromycin. I wish they had shorter words for this. Spiromycin, we have that. Mycoban, we have that. The one I would recommend certainly is Mycoban, but the veterinarian that I am in touch with on a regular basis suggests that you alternate. You go from Mycoban to Spiromycin or Spiridox, so you're doing a sort of a preventative. You're only going to do a preventative if you have a history of mycoplasmosis that's been diagnosed, or from a preventative standpoint. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm in the process of writing a book, and a lot of the information is going to come from this book. But as I say, you may want to write this down. This book here is great. It's just a little pamphlet, but it's problem droppings explained. A lot of times you can get into this book and find out what your problems are. So I'm recommending that. And another book that I wanted to recommend, and I recommend this regularly because a lot of people call me and don't have much experience in pigeons, or what they're doing is getting into the white dove release business, and those people a lot of times have never had a pigeon in their life. So I wrote this book a number of years ago. I think I wrote it and Veronica printed it. You created it, didn't you? I wrote it and you put it together. Problem solving. Say yes. Thank you. Anyways, it should be, I suppose, it's inexpensive, but it could be titled Pigeons for Dummies because it's the very, very basics. So if you're brand new to pigeons or pigeons in the last year or so, you've got a lot to learn. This little book called White Pigeons, The Color of Money is written for you. Like I say, it could be Pigeons for Dummies. So good book. I'm about done. I do have a question, but I'm going to wait for Gina to join me. But I did, if you notice, I have a hat. So during this show, you could call me, what was her last name? Pearlie? No, the Western woman. Somebody will tell me. Pearl, what was it? Pearl. What was her first name? Minnie Pearl. I just remembered it. Minnie Pearl always wore a hat, and she always had a tag behind it. So this is my Minnie Pearl hat. So you can call me Mr. Pearl during the show if you want. Once again, the way to contact us, we're waiting for Gina. Tell her she's late, waiting for Gina. But if you want to contact us and ask a question, I see Randy has a question up there for us already. These questions are so important to us because by you asking them, we're giving information to others who may have exactly the same question. So through Facebook, all you have to do is send us a question, and we'll do our very best. I'm also going to give you my home phone number, which I suppose is unusual with a lot of folks. But if you need me, if you have a question, you can't contact us through any other source, you give me a call. You can leave a message, but you don't really have to. If I see somebody's call me when I'm not home, and I'm going to give them a home phone number, as I said, it shows me who called, and I hit the button for a return call, and I'll speak to you. It could be in the evening. A lot of times I get so many calls, I try to call people in the evening. So my home phone number, hope you have something to write on. My home phone number, the mail person just came here, came in. Hi, you're late. Put in the mic box. See up there? Look right there. Say, oh yeah, you're late, Gina. Anyways, I was going to tell you, my home phone number is 724-359-5355. That's the end of my show, and Gina's going to join us, I assume. Gina? We'll be back momentarily. We'll be back momentarily. Is she there?
Oh, we did. That's okay. It's on my desk.
That's the reason we have a 15-minute pre-show.
I know. Hi,
I'm
guys.
supposed to be quiet.
No, we're back on. Hi, guys. Welcome to Boys on Facebook. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. I was trying to get ready, and my grandkids are here, and it's a mess, and I forgot my paper. And
who are you?
I'm Gina.
Okay.
This is Jerry, as you all know. Veronica's behind the scenes. Today's show, we're going to show how to put together the new shipping boxes, the 2-bar and the 4-bar economy.
Do we have them here?
I do.
Okay.
We're also going to talk about the difference between a couple different types of pigeons. And yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's about it?
Yeah. The auction birds, I'll announce the winners of that. So the tipplers is Corey Benagas, which he already called me. Cream bars, Jose Cruz. And then the white homers is Patrick Morency. So if you can call me after the show and we'll get that all taken care of.
May I interrupt?
You may.
Okay, just to remind you, the birds that we auction off, Foy's takes nothing from what we sell them for. All of the money goes to a charity to benefit pigeon people. And if you have it in your heart, you may want to consider sending Foy's some pigeons, a pair of pigeons, two pair of pigeons at the most, I suppose. We're asking that they be a hen and a cock. We're asking that they be banded, and of course, as good quality as you possibly can. Tom Pritchett is offering at our next show some of the best fantails in the world. In fact, I was looking through a magazine to get get ready for this show, and Tom pictures of Tom's American Fantails are in there, and we're going to be talking about fantails. So if you would consider donating one or two pair, we'll sell them in auction that we have, and your name would be recognized, and your name would then be inserted into the the NPA quarterly magazine, and the price has to be 100, but almost every pair we sell is 100 or more. I'm laughing at myself. I almost said the American Pigeon Journal. We haven't had that now for probably over 20 years, but for the longest time it was the only quality all-breed pigeon magazine in the United States. That has gone by the wayside, and Dorothy now is publishing something called Purebred Magazine also, and we have the NPA quarterly. I had to fill in while you were.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, this root beer is great.
Is it?
I told him it wasn't beer. It looks
not.
like a beer. Okay.
I don't know if you mentioned, but I'm going to mention it again for the pigeons from the auction or any birds that Jerry ships. If the weather, which next week is supposed to be 90, if the weather is hot, the birds will not ship next week. We will let you know if they don't ship, and the following week they should ship if the weather's okay.
Would you also reinforce the idea that they have to pay? Send a check, please, or call us, please.
To pay for
or
the
did
birds?
I just do that? Yeah.
I did in the beginning.
Okay. Well, we have people who don't pay. They bid and we don't hear from them.
If you bid and you don't pay, then you're banned from bidding anymore. So if you bid, please intend on paying for the pigeons. I no longer contact people. If you don't bid and you don't call me, I'm not contacting you.
Right. And the birds are just put back into my loft and put back up in the future.
I feel like that we're off center. I guess because where the camera is. Okay, good. Okay.
Like my hat?
Yeah.
I told them
okay.
during the show they have to call me Mr. Pearl because Mini Pearl.
Yes. I knew that. Okay. Did you do the question yet? Nope. Okay, we're going to answer Randy's question. My birds have food all the time, but some are very thin in the breast and feel light when I pick them up. How do I put some fat on them? What should I be feeding them that I am not? They always get whole corn, safflower, milo, sunflower, and pellets.
Well, one of the things that you may want to consider is peanuts. When you feed peanuts, it puts weight on them immediately, but make sure that they're not roasted, salted peanuts, just a natural peanut. And you'll find, and I've done this, that at first they won't eat them. So what you've got to do is, if you feed them once a day, and you're going to feed them tomorrow, don't feed them. And then put the peanuts out and mix it in with your regular feed. And you'll find that they eat them. They'll eat them last, but within 2 or 3 days, they'll eat peanuts like they love them. So that's a really quick way to do it. If you go through our catalog, you'll find 2 or 3 different ways to put weight on your birds. What you're feeding, none of them are really products that put weight on a bird specifically. So in our catalog, or if you try the peanuts, I think you'll find some good luck. You're looking for it, Gina?
No, I was
Okay.
looking
But I know
for
it's in the catalog. It's if you look at on the side, it tells you what the topics are on that particular page, and it'll talk about weight gain. But you're assuming that the birds are healthy. It's not normal for birds to go what we call go light. Um, Maybe check the droppings. Make sure the droppings are not very loose or green on particular birds. Maybe what you want to do is to segregate them and check out the color of the droppings. If you get into very watery or if you get into greens and things like that, especially if you see a few specks of blood or fairly light green, you probably have coccidiosis, and coccidiosis is a protozoa or a bug, so you may have to treat them for coccidiosis.
I wanted to talk about the catalog for a minute. I heard you in the beginning talking about it.
Yep.
I'm sorry, not the catalog, the website.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people don't like change, don't accept change well. But we do have a new website if you're not aware of that, and you may not like it because you're unsure of how to navigate it. So if you have any questions on how to navigate it, just give us a call. We walk a lot of people through the navigation when they call us. Just like anything, once you start using it, you get familiar with it, it'll be easy.
And it's done to benefit you.
Right.
More information, easier access once you know what you're doing.
Right. So if you have any questions, just feel free to call us. Any one of us that answers can help you. Myself, Kim, or Sherry.
Don't call me.
No, don't accept Jerry. Don't call Jerry.
But people do, and I tell them
Yeah.
call the store.
Yeah. Also on the website, as well as the new catalog, is a clearance section. Stuff that we have that's not a big seller, so we're trying to move it, make room in the warehouse, just to get rid of it. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with it, but we're trying to move it out. So in the catalog and on the website. If you have any questions about that, give us a call.
You had a visitor.
And yeah. So we got a question, Stephen. Do you have an update on the 19? Those have been shipped.
What?
This week, the 19. Oh, I read it to myself. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you have an update on the 19-inch floor grates? They have been shipped this week. I don't know when we're gonna get them. I haven't had an update yet. So, if you want to call me towards the end of next week, give me a call, and I should have an update by then.
Part of the problem, folks, is the pandemic. I know we can't blame everything on it, but a lot of these products come from overseas, whether it's Europe, Portugal, Spain, whatever. And some of these countries are shut down. Nothing can leave. So we're doing our very best. In fact, we just got in. You might want to mention that we just got in some. No, we just got some products in, so we're trying to catch up on some of the back orders. Well, not back orders. Some of the items that we've been out of because of the pandemic.
I'll mention it.
Go ahead.
It should. We should be able to start getting it out next week. But we got in some of the popular products: 3-in-1, 4-in-1. I believe Thailand.
And Spiridox.
Spiridox. Yeah. So starting next week, if you want to call and order them, you can call and order it, and we'll start getting them out next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephen, and we apologize. We're doing our very best. Like I say, just the way it is, and we'll get them out as soon as we can. We just once we get them in, we just automatically put them on our website. So you can go to the website and see if they're in or not.
Right, but if you want to know, have an update about when they're supposed to be here, just give me a call. And then also keep in mind, sometimes if stuff gets, if custom stops it, we never know how long it's going to be. So.
And I don't want it to, I don't know why business has been booming since the pandemic. The only reason we can come up with in discussing it is the fact that more and more people are home, and being home and wanting something to do, they're falling back onto their hobby, the pigeons, and business is booming. What brought that to mind is John, the man that makes our wood products. He's only one guy. He's doing everything he possibly can, and he's falling behind a little bit because of the increase in orders. So we thank you for that, but bear with us. We're doing everything we can to get them out as quick as possible.
Yep. Oh, another thing that we should have in stock next week is a Pigeon Pox vaccine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you that.
Well, it's good because pigeon pox, although not anything like PMV or paratyphoid, it's not a killer, but it's a pain. And if you get it during race season or breeding season or show season, it just knocks you down. You can't show them, you can't race them, you can't fly them, and it is a virus, so the vaccine will help prevent that.
Yep, so that'll be online next week once we get it, and we'll be able to start shipping it out. Awesome. Another question. Do you have one pair of young breeding racing blue bars?
I think the answer to you is yes. When I say I think, I'm assuming when you say young, you're not asking for 2020 birds. I do have more than one pair of blue bars, some gorgeous birds, but they might be 1, 2, or 3 years old. Those are considered young birds, but if you actually mean 2020, they're too young for me to guarantee the sex, and of course they're not mated. But if you want, call me call me or email me, Jerry Gagne at boyspetsupplies.com, and I'll answer your questions for you.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the show racers first?
No.
No?
I'd rather not talk about them at all because I don't have them and I want to be able to compare them.
Okay. The Fantails?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So which one first?
Let's do the Fantails, and we'll do the American Fantail first. And what we're doing, folks, is people do get confused. When you say fantail, everybody has a different idea of what a fantail is. There are 3 fantails. They're completely different from each other. The first one we're going to talk about, are you going to put the film? You did this something.
The picture?
Okay, bye. I lost my train of thought.
The picture of the Fantail.
Okay, is it up now?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at that picture, and I'm looking at one in our book, the American Fantail is called that because it originated in the United States. And it's a bird that, where you're looking at the picture, it stands very erect and its tail is straight up. Very, very popular. If you go to one of the major shows, you'll see hundreds and hundreds of them, and every color you can possibly think of from white to yellow to black to grizzle, to every color. They have some what are called tail mark. This is a tail mark bird, but as you can see, it's got a black body and a white tail. So fantails, American Fantail, is very, very popular. I'm going to go get a fantail now to show you what the Indian Fantail looks like.
You don't have a picture of that, right? It's on this side. Down. You want me to hold on?
Please. I want to thank Heather Cox from West Virginia. These are her birds. I'm shipping them to her on Monday, but I held them back for this show. If you see an American Fantail, this is called an Indian Fantail. As you can see, it's completely different than the American Fantail. For one, it's definitely bigger and not as dainty as the American Fantail. The fan on an American Fantail is always up here. On an Indian fantail, it goes down, and it's not completely rounded like an American fan would be. It has a bit of a peak here, and it has boots. These are called boots, not muffs. Muffs, the feathers come out. On the Indian fantail, it's nowhere near as big. So if you're wondering about fantails, this is American, this is a black one, this is a white one with a little bit of marking. Beautiful eye on them, sort of an orange eye, but you'll find that on the American also. So that's an Indian fantail. Be right back. As I mentioned, there's three. The one that I don't have, and it's an American breed that was created not that many years ago. Could have been 15 years ago. I'm really not sure, but it's an acceptable breed now. It's called the Minifan. The Minifan, Minifan, is what you hear. It's a smaller version of the American fantail, and you'll see those at the show or a show. So if you ever have the opportunity to go to a pigeon show, you ought to go. You'll see all these different varieties I'm not going to say in the flesh, but in the feather.
Didn't we have one of those before?
Minifan?
Yeah.
To be frank, no. To be Jerry, I don't remember. Could have.
I know what else I wanted to mention. When you post the question to the show, post it in the comments. Don't go to Messenger and post the question. Post it right there in the feed, in the comments.
That doesn't help me.
I know.
I don't know how to get onto Facebook.
I know.
Stan's got a question.
Hi, Stan. How often should the pigeons be treated for coccidiosis, paratyphoid, and worms?
Every 6 months, if you have never had a problem with cocci, paratyphoid, or worms, every 6 months. If you have had an issue with any of those three, you should do it at least once a month until the problem goes away. So it could be 3 months, 6 months, but you do it once a month until you've eradicated the problem and you don't see cocci or paratyphoid or worms anymore. But I'm going to sneeze. What do you do on TV? They have a button or radio that quiets the sneeze. But am I allowed to sneeze on my own show? Our show? No.
Do whichever you want to do.
Excuse me. You. Thank you. In talking about treating, be sure if you treat for coccidiosis or worms to scrape the floor afterwards. Every day you use it, depending on the products you use, scrape the floor because especially worms. Worms, the most popular worm is called a round worm. And there's a large and a small round worm. If you don't clean your floor, what happens is the bird, if it did have, let's say, worms, it does not kill roundworms. If it did, it would kill the birds because roundworms are in a ball inside the bird and they can't pass them all. So when you treat them, some of the roundworms are passed through on the floor. Or in some cases, you've treated the adults, but they're alive or they come out, they're on the floor. And the birds have a tendency to pick at them, pick them right back up again. So if you're going to worm or treat for cocci, my suggestion is be sure to clean the floor after you've done it.
Thank you.
Well, you won't.
Take a drink.
You haven't tried your cream soda yet.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I was drinking water.
Is it ignorant to drink on the show?
No. Go ahead.
It does look like beer, though, doesn't it?
Elvis has a question. Can you ship a flat rate box with your supplies? Yes, Elvis. We have a small, medium, and large flat rate. So if your product fits in a flat rate box, we can ship it. Everything doesn't fit in there. So depending what you order, yes, we do have flat rate boxes.
And that's fairly limited in size, aren't they?
Yeah. The small is super duper small. You can fit like...
Big one is like a shoebox, that kind of...
a little bigger than a shoebox, but yeah. So yeah, a lot of times that's what we try to do. If it'll fit, we ship it in a flat rate if you chose priority mail. Yep.
Are we done now? Can we go home?
No. You sure? We can go home. Say the word. We're going to demonstrate the two-bird shipping box.
I guess that's me, huh?
I mean,
You do it pretty well. Okay.
I can do it, but
This is the tuber.
yes, two-bird.
Can they see us okay, Veronica? Or am I going to fill the screen? All right, pretty easy. Number one, you get it flat like this. You're going to open the box by doing it that way. Just push it that way. So here, I'm going to move it back a little bit. So it comes this way, that way. Then this is the top. You can tell it's the top. Reading. If the spelling is upside down, you know you got it wrong. So you're going to flip it over. Okay, and now it looks like this. We're going to take this flap, and the directions are here. So A is first. I push it down as far as I can. Then you have, I'm sorry?
I said show them that you pushed it all the way in.
You want to do this?
No, go ahead.
No, please, help me out. So that's A. Then the next thing you do is push in the flaps. These are B. See the letter B? So you're going to push it down. I'm holding it down. Then I'm flipping it over. When you flip it over, see C is the bottom, and the instructions are on it. So what I do next, I'm sorry, I'm flipping it over, and I'm going to show you inside. I'm going to lift up A, and then inside there's two B's. So see, here it is now. And then the next step would be this flap I'm going to push down. There it is. The flap is pushed down. The box is pretty well put together. There's indentation, so you're going to push it this way. See? Push it this way, go to the other side, push it this way. Lock is pretty much done. There are two little flaps here that are pushed down. Push down. Then I'm going to fold this in. Then these flaps are out. I'm pushing down and putting it here. This is cut to fit right in there. There we go. And then these are flipped underneath. And you have a hole here. This is where your zip ties go to lock it. On this side, it's locked. Something new this year, to give even more ventilation as you push these tabs down. And you do it that way. Turn the other side over, push it that way. They go in like that. The box is done. And you can see it's pretty darn sturdy. And I always tell people, if you're going to ship birds, put some straw or some shavings underneath so that the birds aren't walking on their own droppings. I don't recommend it, although I've seen it done. I don't recommend cedar chips. Cedar creates a fume, and on a very hot day in a closed location, it could have negative effects on it. So do your best not to use cedar chips. Has been okay?
Very good.
Thank you. Do you want to do the next one?
You can.
Oh, thanks.
It's basically the same.
Okay. This is a 4-bird box. Once again, you're getting it flat like this when we mail it to you. And all you do is push. And you've got the basic size. Once again, you've got an A. Push it down all the way in. Then you've got the next piece. B is just to push these in like that. So I'm pushing it over. It's all done. Flip the box over. I'm going to show you. This is the one I pushed in. Can you see the B? You're going to lift the B up against that wall and that wall. And then the A goes pushed in. It's pretty, I know I'm probably making it more complicated than I have to. No, that's it. Look at the bottom. That's pretty much done. Then what I'm going to do is push in the flaps, get perforated, and then I'm going to push this in.
That side.
And then this comes over here. It's all pretty simple. I'm doing it as quick as I can, and then, oops, then this goes this way, right? Same thing. Remember, I pushed the other one in, and I pushed this one in. I can remember one time I had a guy call me on the older boxes. I spent 20 minutes, step by step by step, telling him how to do it. And I had to do it again and again. I finally turned it over to you, didn't I? Somebody had to explain because I wasn't getting it through. Did you get through to him eventually? No matter what I did, he didn't understand it, but I think he was listening to Gina because she had a pretty face, not me. All right, this goes down in here. What did you say?
Can't see my face on the phone.
All right, this goes in. This goes in. You can see daylight. Your Q-tip, your Ziplocs go in here, and I'm done. You still have the same ventilation. This is brand new. Gives you even more ventilation.
On the side too.
And you have them here. Have them here. Have them here. Remember we talked about ventilation in the loft. It's so important that you get proper ventilation with these two, as much air as you possibly can. Like Gina was mentioning, when it gets close to 80, a little over 80, I hesitate to ship birds. So keep in mind, in real hot weather, I may have to postpone the shipping for a week or so. That's the 4-bird box. Now it says 4 birds. If you've got runts, if you've got big breeds, powders or something like that, the 4-bird is not big enough for 4 of them. Just keep that in mind. What breed you have in ordering. Like this, you can put 2 birds in it. You can put 2 birds of just about any size, but you can't put 4 birds of any size in this. Even the American Fantail, the Indian Fantail, it's going to be a little bit crowded. So if you have large varieties, large breeds, you don't want to try to put 4 into that one. If you have a question and I haven't made myself clear, just give me a call, or if you really want to know how to do it, call Gina. Right? You know how to do
Sure.
it.
And we have a few more 8-bird boxes left. The original 8 birds, maybe 4, I think, if that.
I would tell them no. You don't have any more. I need them all.
You need them all? Oh, okay. We don't have any.
Yeah,
and they stopped making them.
Right. What we talk about is we're talking about is I sell pigeons, and once again, business is unbelievable. I can't keep up with the white doves and the young ones and the mated pairs. And I have to. Last week I shipped, or this week I shipped 100. Next week I've already got orders for over 60. So I'm going to use every box we got, and that's the end of them. So what I'm going to do after that, until we get the new larger boxes, I'm going to suggest you, and I'm going to have to do it. We have the 4-bird box, and it holds 4 racing homers without any problem. So if you order 8, I'm going to have to ship in 2 boxes. It won't be that much more.
Okay. Bert asks, am I correct that these new boxes qualify for the cheapest USPS rate?
Yep.
Yes, Bert.
It says right on it, that is, it's accepted by the United States Postal Service.
No, he's saying for the cheapest USPS rate. Because they measure the boxes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, they are, Bert.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why they made the new ones, because the post office changed the way that you have to ship them. So yeah, they are.
They measure everything, and it is
Right.
considerably more expensive now than it used to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice to have all those questions coming in, huh?
Mm-hmm. It is.
And I, once again, thank you for the people that bought them pigeons. And I wanted to remind people, if you've ever heard of Tom Pritchett, has some of the best American fantails in the United States and probably the world. We're going to have a pair of blue checks, and we're going to have a pair of whites for our next auction, or maybe just one pair, one auction, and another pair, another
What
next
kind?
auction. American Fantails.
Okay. For
From Tom
2
Pritchett.
weeks from now?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. What else? I wanted to mention the white dove release. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Seems we have more people calling, starting up the business, buying stuff for that. Thank you. And we have this book, White Pigeon's Color of Money. It basically explains stuff for beginners. If you're unsure of what to do, how to do it, have questions on lofts or feeding or a bunch of stuff. It's in this book. Jerry wrote this book.
It's a
Yeah,
good seller.
it is a very good seller.
Would you mind talking a little bit about, or maybe you are, products that we have
What
for
products?
the white dove release business?
Oh, yeah, sure. So we have some, I think all of our white dove release baskets are custom made, either by one of two people. Two different guys make our custom, or our dove release baskets.
We have one that to push a button. You can be 25 feet away, push a button. Is that the one you were going to talk about?
Go ahead.
I'll be quiet while I interrupt you.
I was going to say that.
I thought I did pretty good this
You did. So we have the remote release basket, which is custom made. So if you look on a website and we don't have it, you can always give me a call. The remote release and the what are the triangle ones called? I forget, but the triangle ones.
Let me get the catalog.
Those are made by the same guy. So usually, as soon as we get them in stock, they're gone. We can't keep them in stock because people are always buying them. But if you want one, you can call and pay for it, and then I'll call and say, okay, the ones you have on, I have one order for stock. I need it ASAP for an order, and then, event release basket. Thank you, Veronica.
Better than me, Veronica.
So the remote release, which comes in two sizes, and it comes in black or white. The event release basket, which we talked about a couple shows ago also, that comes in black or white.
And it holds 3 birds.
Yes. So if you want those, I don't believe we have any of them right now in stock. I have some orders right now he's working on, but if you need them, just give me a call. We can order them and get them here quicker.
Might mention that the reason we don't have as many as we would like to have is the people that make them are perfectionists working for us. We get so many compliments, and we dare not go to somebody else because we feel the quality would probably go down, and we get so many orders because of the quality. So if you're thinking about it, as Gina says, maybe give her a call and place your order, and she'll tell you how to do it or whatever. Because if you call and we don't have them, you may have to wait 2 to 4 weeks. So if you're thinking about buying any of our event baskets or white dove release baskets, you may want to call and order them and make sure they're on the next load. Amish people don't drive, and what they have, and they don't have telephones either. So when you call, we have to write John, tell him what to make, and they deliver every 2 to 4 weeks. He has to hire a driver who pulls a trailer and delivers to us. It's a bit cumbersome, but quality is the most important, and we're not going to compromise and buy from somebody, and we've had the opportunity to do that, who sells cheaper. We're so confident in John and in Carl in what they do that that's the reason we're a little bit slow. So, and keep in mind also, when you custom order something, that's another reason it may take a little while, because when you call me to order it, I have to send John a letter. So the letter takes a couple of days to get to him, and then he calls me. So it does take a little bit of time. Back to the event or white dove release business. We also have Hart Baskets. We have some, mesh? Mm-hmm. White mesh, black mesh. They come in small and large sizes. And we have the woven ones that are a natural color. Right now, the reed to make those, because those are all handmade, the reed to make those baskets are on back order. But we're supposed to get it this month. But as soon as he gets it, he's going to start making the woven ones.
And I believe all the black and white heart-shaped are in stock right now. And then isn't there another, there's one other basket.
Just a plain release basket?
The black and the white one, but we have those in stock, yeah.
They look standard.
Yeah, but it's white for the dove release or black. They're
and the
really
pictures,
nice.
of course, are all nice.
Yeah. So yeah. Question: is it possible to order the jumbo heart-shaped basket? It is 3 feet in diameter. Do you have an item number, Roberta?
No, the 3-foot one. The jumbo heart shape. She wants a custom size, 3 feet in diameter.
She says it is 3 feet.
Yeah.
You have to give me a call, Roberta. You can give me a call about 4:30, or give me a call next week, and we can talk about it.
You probably have to talk to John, but I see no reason why I couldn't.
Yeah, John can make anything.
And he's so good at we tell him what to make over the phone.
Yeah.
And darned it, as long as we got the correct measurements, when it comes in, it's going to be exactly what we want.
Right.
I got an email, and I think I forwarded it on to you. A gentleman asked, do you make custom baskets? Yes, we do. If you can draw a picture of it or take a picture of it, we will get it to John, and by golly, he'll make it. And if he has a question, he might contact Gina, or he may just call you himself to get clarification. If you need custom work of any kind that relates to poultry, pigeons, cage birds, John can make it. And aluminum. I'm sorry, he makes the aluminum baskets. Or his friend makes the aluminum.
No, we can't get those anymore.
Okay, the aluminum baskets aren't available. Okay.
So if you want to get something custom made, a wood product by John, you need to know the dimensions. You can't tell me the opening of something and I pick the dimensions. I just can't do it. So you need to know the exact dimensions, exactly what you want, because he's going to make it exact to what you ask for. And normally when I order it from him, I will give him your phone number. That way, if he does have any questions, I may not understand something that you're trying to explain to me, so he will give you a call if he's unsure or if I'm unsure. So, yeah.
We're not done, are we? We still have. Okay. I wonder if you have something you want to say.
No, go ahead.
There's a book that we offer. I've mentioned it before, but it's just something you should have. Problem Droppings Explained. Almost every pigeon disease produces droppings that are not normal. Anywhere from white to light green, dark green, brown, black, loose. So this particular book shows you what the droppings should look like. In this particular page here, it breaks them all down. For instance, it tells you dark green, normal consistency, pale green, bulky, dark green, sticky, green, slimy, diarrhea, yellow. So it talks about all of the different colors and pretty much tells you what the problem is and what to use. It also has a number of colored pictures. There's a picture there of a roundworm. It talks about the liver and just a lot of good stuff. It's an inexpensive little book, and you really should have it as part of your arsenal. When people call me, especially when they're beginners, I tell them the one book you should have is this one. Even though we wrote it for the white dove release business, as I said earlier, it could be called Pigeons for Dummies because there are so many questions answered. Better to find out about the questions before you make a mistake. If you had this book, you might not have done what you did.
And talking about the droppings explained, it's so important when you call us to pay attention to your pigeons. A lot of people call and say, my pigeon died. We ask, what are the symptoms? They're like, I don't know. You know,
and they've already disposed of the bird.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
I had one the other day and I said, well, are your droppings green, runny, watery, what? He's like, no. So then we was talking a while, and I said, "You sure your droppings aren't different?" He's like, "Well, yeah, they're a little runny." Well, like that's important. So if you pay attention to your birds, are they eating more or less? Are they drinking more or less? Are they not eating or drinking?
Or are they standing in a corner? A real telltale, and I know immediately because I feed my birds. I keep them a bit hungry. When I put, what are you laughing at?
You interrupting, but go ahead.
Well, if I don't, but Gina,
You'll forget.
I'll forget. What were we talking about?
If they're in the corner.
Yeah. If they're standing in a corner, and every bird, when you put the feed in a tray, flies to the feeder immediately and then are fighting for feed, which is what I want. But you see one that doesn't come down off the perch or is standing in a corner, something's wrong with that bird. You go pick it up. A lot of times you'll save its life because you know it's sick and it's lightweight. Give Gina a call, give Sherry a call, Kim a call. Most of the time they know the answer. But if they're not sure, then they'll give them a home phone number and we'll discuss it. Or you might want to send a sample of the droppings right to us. We have an experienced avian vet who will look at them droppings under a microscope. If you want to do that, it's a service we offer. All you have to do is call Foy's and ask for the poop expert.
That would be Sherry.
That would be Sherry. She specializes in pigeon poop. I'm sorry. I'm trying to behave myself, Gina, but I let that one slip. But she'll send them. You call her, she'll tell you how to do it. Just don't send them because there's a process. And she'll tell you the cost. I don't know what it is. Do you happen to know? Off the top of your head. But she'll quote you the cost. Send them in. We'll send them to the veterinarian. Sometimes the vet will call you to discuss and ask more questions. So it's a good thing to do before breeding season and after breeding season. Even though everything seems normal, you may want to send them in just for a checkup, just like humans. All of the appointments now seem to be done by telephone. Yesterday, I talked to one doctor. Then I had another doctor call me today. I shouldn't say he called. The doctor called. The doctor's people called and switched my appointment where I was going to go into the office to a telephone call next week. So Dr. Miller may call you and ask you more questions.
Yeah. And if you can, it's important to segregate the sick birds from the other birds. So maybe you can tell what the droppings look like. Because if there's a lot of them, you may not know or be able to tell what their particular droppings look like.
By the way, if you're looking, I might have mentioned this already. If you're looking for young white one, baby young white one, 2020, give me a call. I've got them right now, but you never know. I have an outstanding order. He says to ship him 20 to 30 at a time every time I get them, but I always try to slip in the other people. So if you need white young ones, give me a call. The breeders, I'm all out of. I hope to have some 2 or 3 weeks. So if you're interested in white birds, call now. Don't call and think I'm going to ship them right away. You might have a week or 2 wait, but the sooner you call, the better it is. And I do require a deposit.
We have a question. Hi, James. Topic for a future show: loft ventilation for different climates, especially how to maintain good airflow in a hot and humid climate.
I want to mention the catalog
Did you hear that?
Pardon?
Did you hear that? Oh, Veronica,
yes.
I need to write it down.
Yeah, well, that's not my job. See, my job is to have other people do my work.
I know. He thinks
Hi, Dan,
I'm his
Dan,
personal
the Pigeon
secretary.
Something we've never put in our catalog before, and if you don't have it, as we said at the beginning of the show, we ship it with every order, unless we know they have one. Or if you call, we'll get one out to you. But in the back of our catalog, never had this before, and I don't think anybody's ever done it before. Colored pictures. Here's a picture of pigeon pox. A lot of people don't know what it looks like. Talks about ornithosis, one-eyed cold. This picture's the actual problems. There's a picture of what to expect with paratyphoid, what some of the symptoms are. So this is not just a catalog and bragging a little bit, but it's truly a resource. If you go into other sections of the book, it breaks down each disease and tells you what your problems might be. And also, we've done this year. This is for breeding. So you have a page for your breeders, and you have a blank page. I shouldn't say blank page, but a page for your breeders and a page for your young ones, because in keeping records, it's so important. If you get a bird that's an exceptional bird, but you don't know which pair raised it, how are you going to duplicate it or replicate it? So by keeping records where every young one came from, what pair they came from, if you get an exceptional bird, you know exactly what pair they came from and put them back together again. So lots and lots of good information. We're proud of it, and we complained, and we've talked to you before. It took exactly a year from April to April to get this catalog done, and we do appreciate the few folks who've called in to point out the mistakes that we've made, because we want to be sure to try to please everybody. We know there are people who are going to read this page to page, page by page, and we appreciate that. And if you do find an error, it's there so that it makes you happy too. And please let us know. You think I'm kidding?
No. Also on the catalog, it's on the website. If you're placing the order, you can add the catalog on the website. There's no charge for shipping, so you can add that. It's on the homepage.
And our catalog cover, we're already getting some really nice compliments. Those are all different breeds, and you'll notice there's the picture by
Gary
Romeg. I'm sorry. He's a unbelievable artist when it comes to pigeons. And if you want to contact him, give me a call or email us, and we'll give you Gary's contact information. You may want pictures of your particular bird, and he can do just about anything. We thank him for the cover, doing the cover.
Yep. And I forget a topic. Just like James suggested a topic for a future show. If you have any suggestions, anything you would like us to show or talk about, feel free to contact us. Put it in the comments, and we will do a future show on that subject. Right?
And don't they all get $1,000 check if we don't do that? But the show is your show. It's about pigeons. You've got pigeons, or you probably wouldn't be watching it. We need your help. If there's a topic we haven't covered, just like James sent us a note about ventilation, and I'm going to put something together for that. If there's a topic you want to talk about, we would be glad to review it and probably use it. One I know, I'm just thinking we ought to talk about it sometime, is the eggs themselves. And what brought it to mind was, and it happens in pigeons and it happens in chickens. I've got a chicken, a full-size chicken, and lays really nice eggs, really brown, big brown eggs. But every once in a while, it's happened 3 times, and I don't know which one it is, one of the chickens lays rubber eggs. Now, it sounds odd, but it is actual, and she doesn't lay it in the nest. We find it out in the lawn. But I know when I go and there's only 2 eggs, probably she's laid a rubber egg, and we find it on the lawn. And what it is, it's a chicken egg, perfect, with the exception it has no shell. It's got a inner lining, and it's soft, and you can move it. But if you were to break it open, the shell is perfectly normal. So there are rough eggs. There are eggs that are oversized or undersized. I've had in the past full-size racing owners lay the egg that's the size of a robin's egg. So eggs are a whole big topic. You wrote it down. We can talk about that. Sometimes the pigeons are trying to pip out or get out of the eggs, and sometimes the egg is too hard, too soft. So I think that's something we can talk about in the future too.
Okay, I wrote it down.
We've got 7 more minutes. If you've got a question, I'll also remind you, my home phone number is 724-359-5355. If you would consider donating a pair of birds, you can send them to me and you'll get credit for the Legacy Fund Trust of the National Pigeon Association. Your name would be listed in their magazine for the rest of your life. Just it's pretty much forever. So we sure could use some pigeons. It's hard to get pigeons this time of the year because it's breeding season. So, and I understand that, but maybe after the breeding season, you may want to consider sending a pair of birds. And I remind you, in talking about breeding, try not to go past 3 rounds. Um, Breeding pigeons is very stressful to the pigeons, both the male and the female. And if you breed uh, from January to October or something, you're going to end up with pigeons that are the eggs are infertile or they're completely exhausted because they're breeding. So give the birds a rest. Either close up all your nest boxes, put wood eggs under them. Best thing you can possibly do is put the hens on one side and the cocks on the other side. And that has benefits in that when you want to remate next breeding season, what you do is you can create new matings. Maybe you had this bird mated to this bird, but you want to see if you can get something else. So you change cocks and make the cock to a new hen, or you can do that when you separate them. It's so much easier. So um, that's my story,
And you're sticking to
and I'm
it.
sticking to it.
Let me see if I had anything else because I was discombobulated earlier.
Was it me that did it?
Always.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to ship pigeons, talk a little bit about that. We talked about the boxes. I get this question. In fact, I had this question. The lady told me she bought some pigeons. She said, please send them by express mail, send them by FedEx. I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't do that. FedEx does not accept pigeons. It's sort of weird. Well, she says, how come FedEx delivered some I bought before? I said, I don't know, ma'am, but the only way you can ship pigeons in the United States is through the post office. But FedEx has a contract with the post office. So if you ship pigeons at the post office, FedEx picks them up and takes them to like, let's say they're going to California. FedEx would fly them to California and deliver them to the post office, and the post office delivers them to you.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing.
UPS has that too. It's called Shore Post.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Pigeons?
I mean, stuff in general. I don't know about pigeons.
No, I don't think pigeons. I think just FedEx because they have the contract for a lot.
Oh, okay.
And we mentioned this before, but it happened to me. Don't ship pigeons when it's very hot. I had a man send me 15 pigeons from Florida. It was hot in Florida when he shipped them, but and his birds were more acclimated to hot weather. But when it got here in Pennsylvania, it was 90 degrees when they delivered them. I knew something was wrong as soon as I picked up the box and nothing was moving. When I got home, all 15 pigeons were dead from the heat. So I learned a lesson. If you're going to ship me pigeons, if it's hot there, don't. If it's hot here, don't. Wait until the weather is acceptable. And I always try to ship pigeons on a Monday or almost always Tuesday. The reason I do that is if you ship pigeons on Thursday, we'll say, well, those pigeons could be stuck in the post office over the weekend, and I not get them for instead of 2 or 3 days, it could be 4 or 5 days. So if you're going to ship pigeons to anybody, or if you sell pigeons, ship pigeons on the first part of the week.
Okay.
This is the first time we've ever run out of things to talk about.
I know.
And that's because our folks aren't sending in questions.
No questions.
We would appreciate it. You mentioned before about we have a container coming in. So we have 2 containers on the way, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also if you are looking for wood product, I repeat, we do custom work. You look all through the catalog and it mentions that, but I laugh because even though it must say it in there 20 or 30 times, guy emails me and do you do custom work? We absolutely do. If you can draw it, if you can think of it, and it can be made out of wood, John will do that for you. And one of the things you have to understand, let's say you want a standard nest front, which is 12 high, 24 from left to right. Uh, and if you order a nest front, and let's say the nest front that you want is actually smaller, and you may assume because it's smaller, it's going to be less money. That's not the case because John makes everything on an assembly line. So he might set up to make 500 perches. And you want a specific perch that looks just like it, but it's a different size. He has to stop the assembly line and he has to make that particular one, whether it's a 12 or 15 or 21 or whatever it is. So you're going to pay more for custom work. And we will give you a quote, exactly what it's going to be before we make them. And in most cases, they have to pay for them in advance, right?
Yeah. And also keep in mind for custom work that you're not going to get it quick. It's going to take a little time, maybe a couple weeks, but you can't call me today and say I want it next week because it's not going to happen. So.
I don't know what else to talk about.
I thought you was going to say something else.
Well, it does say 4 o'clock up there.
Yeah.
So maybe we could sing a song or something?
No, we can't.
You don't want to sing?
No.
We should have, maybe we could introduce your grandchildren and say,
They're gone. They went home.
Dan's never been on our show, but too late now. Maybe
he can be on another one.
Dan, you're on the next show. Be sure to wear a suit and tie.
I got work to do.
Oh, you got work to do.
Okay, so the next show is June 19th. If you have any questions, comments before then, call Jerry or myself, 724-843-6889. You want a catalog, you can order online or give us a call and we'll send you one.
And there's a couple of regulars that we always hear from, and we didn't hear from either one.
Yeah. Where y'all at?
Where y'all at?
Oh, we should have the auction birds for the next show next week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have those on. Yep. We'll have those online.
Should we invite everybody to our party tomorrow?
No.
No. Okay.
Okay. So until June 19th.
So long.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks for watching. Overlook my. What do I do? Interrupt you.
Yes.